while to accept that, I'll be honest, because at first I'm like, not me, not me. But later on, the more and more I kept repeating the people, the situations, it was very clear that there was a thought, there was something subconsciously. So, all that being said, Spirit said, turn in and make sure that you know who you are in every situation, meaning what is your thoughts, what are your emotions, what are your feelings, what these things are important to become aware of. So I became aware of them, and I had all of this information about dimensions and whatnot. And then one day, this is where everything changed for me. Spirit said, I need you to forget everything you know. I did not know what that meant at the time. But Spirit said, I need you to forget everything you think you know, everything you've been taught, everything you've experienced, everything. I need you to be still. I did not know how to be still. I had to learn how to meditate. And then I thought I had it wrong for a good little while until I found my rhythm. I found my flow. Because I kept trying different ones. And some of them worked and some of them didn't. So what I came to find out was there wasn't any particular way. I had to find my way. Because I stumbled on it one day. I was just so frustrated. I was just breathing. And it's like, oh, this box simple breathing took me to my center. Where I've been practicing all these other things and they didn't take me to my center. So there was the realization that it was not all these other things necessarily. It was taking those things and finding the right rhythm, the right flow for me. So I would say that about any modality. I believe in all of the modalities. I believe that they all work. It's a matter of our beliefs. Do we believe in them? Do we believe, do we believe that it will work for us? Because that is the defining factor in everything. It works if you believe. If you don't, it doesn't. Period. And that has been true for me in my whole journey in healing and becoming aware of myself. The one thing I did that I can say that stuck out was, I remember leaving day one. I know y'all remember me leaving day one of Reiki, of angelic Reiki. I was scared. I was scared day one. I left their class because I was feeling a lot of stuff. And then I went to the restroom and I was shaky and I was like, it's too much witch stuff. You know, it's too witchy. But my nose started bleeding. And it scared me. I ran out. I went home, and I remember getting on my knees because if I knew nothing, I knew there's God. I may not know everything, but I knew there was a God. And so I got on my knees, and I said, God, if this is real, if this stuff is true, show me in a way that I will not miss it and that I will not deny it anymore. And I promise with all my heart to do my best to rid myself of anything that keeps me from believing. That was my oath. That was my promise in that moment to God. So I went back to Reiki the next day and it flowed and everything just unfolded in this way. So what I want to share most importantly about all of this is that it's going to be unique to all of us. It's going to be the journey, which we all know, but it's inside. And it's learning how to see the things outside of us as a reflection in some way, shape, or form. It's either to grow us, challenge us. Challenge is there, but that's the growth. I've learned that too. The challenges are for the growth. Without the challenges, we don't grow. Trust me, I've sat, and I want to say this, I've sat in a place of solitude and not letting anybody into my energy. Nobody. And I did not find that I was growing in that space. I was knowing myself, but I was not growing in as the physical experience. The challenges, then every time I would get out, I'd experience a challenge. And I looked at it as a negative before, not understanding that that challenge was there to grow me because there was something still sitting in the subconscious, right? So the more and more I started to look at the challenges as opportunities for growth, I opened my heart up to ask, what does this have to teach me? In every single situation, what does it have to teach me? How am I going to grow from this? How am I going to be a greater version of myself? How can I see different? I use prayer for everything. I move in prayer. I live in prayer. I find prayer to be the most powerful thing in my existence for me. And I will share that with everybody always because, again, it comes back to belief. I truly believe wholeheartedly anything and everything that has worked for me is because I have truly allowed myself to believe and trust in the divine in that way. So beyond sharing things like that, I want to tell you guys, I have looked outside myself so much in the beginning that once I came full circle and Spirit said, forget everything you know, sitting in meditation and sitting in solitude, I started to hear my soul in a way that I'd never heard before. And it would speak clear and louder even. but only when I was still and I was quiet. And I noticed that whenever I'd get around people or I'd get in other environments, I couldn't hear it so clear. Like it was faded. It was almost like a word here, a word there, but I wouldn't get the whole instructions or, you know, the experience of sitting in that solitude. I understand now why it was so important, because we have to be able to hear our souls in order to decipher what's ours and what's not. And we can't do that when we're constantly in environments, constantly surrounded, constantly distracted. And distractions come in so many forms. So why it's important to incorporate it is because it is life-changing. I have had experiences where if I skip a day of my time, the day reflects so much of an opposite. Or really it's kind of, well, I can't say that so much anymore because there's blessings that come when you do this inner work. Right, okay, so I hear spirit. So excuse me whenever you see me do that because I hear spirit. So spirit wants me to share the importance of allowing angels and allowing guides in to assist us, because we don't believe that this is real. Not in the beginning. But it's one of those things that you try it like a science project. If you just try it like a science project and you give yourself the opportunities, the synchronicities, the magic, if you want to call it that, it shows up. But it's in trusting. It's in trusting them because they're always with us and they're always willing to help us. But the only thing that stops us is our belief in that being a possibility. So let's see. Now I'm being told to channel things, so give me a second.
Look, they're making it all. They're just doing whatever they want to.
They changed that. They
Look,
changed
they
that.
put up on there. Wait.
So again, so you see how this is what I'm saying. Like I love this part because they tell me just be, and we will make things work. Now here's the thing. This is how spirit moves. It really does. It really does. So again, see, it's not, and I did not believe in this stuff before. This is why I share this so much, because I did not believe before. But I can't explain that other than spirit.
As soon as you said, we're getting ready to channel, everything went boom, boom.
Yes,
This went off.
yes.
This went off, and that started.
Yes, yes. So
And
the
my
channeling,
computer is
seeing
off.
a clear vessel. Yes.
The computer was off. Now it's on.
Yeah.
It,
This is how spirit moves, and it does. In my life, this is how spirit moves. There's always magic, there's always things unfolding, and I believe wholeheartedly this is true for everybody and anybody. It's just a matter of the work we do within ourselves and what we allow ourselves to believe. So when I say that I'm going to channel, I'm going to bring a chair to sit to channel. So when I channel spirit, there is an energy that comes through that is so divine that it's me, but it's not me. You know what I mean? And I can't explain it beyond that, you know? So
I assisted them.
let me ask. There's a pure divine essence that vibrates to every human being on this planet. And it exists in truth. God lives inside. You may not know this because you are not taught. But God lives inside. And when you trust, and when you open yourself to this truth, in the little ways, by the steps that serve each one of you individually, you allow the divine to flow and move magic, move miracles in your life in ways that cannot otherwise. It is the belief system, it is the programs, it is the anxieties, it is the stories we tell ourselves that keep us from it. Anything and everything that flows through the mind is a story. There's labels, there's titles, there's words, all extremely powerful, but none as extremely powerful as your essence. Allow yourself to be divine, allow yourself to be great, allow yourself to be your purest essence. It'll seem like the world goes against you because the world fears what they do not know. God is not logic. God is love. The thing that will transform your life and your world will be love. And the multiple layers of it, like an onion. For your journey as human beings is to experience all the ways of love and to clear anything that keeps you from it, should you become conscious and aware. This is the great work of the human being, to rid yourselves of the limitations of the words, of the energies that do not serve. And only you can do that. No one can do it for you. You can be guided, you can be supported, and you can be loved, but the real work, only you can do it. And you're not alone. We stand here. We stand here with you, always. One with Gaia, you are. One with God, you are. You simply need to remember it. Sovereign divine beings is our birthright. It has been for millenniums. We have a DNA that can be altered at any time and is altered at any time. And what you do not know yet is that you can literally go into your energy field and alter your DNA at choice. But you must be conscious and aware, for there is a cause and effect for every choice you make. There's a reason for balance. There's a reason for light. There's a reason for dark. Understand them and you will understand the experience. Understand that you are both. Always. Forever you're both. And when you expire from this physical experience, you come back and you do it again. So don't be in a rush. Enjoy the now. Be present. Your power is in your presence. There's power in the now. If you're anxious, you're living in tomorrow. If you're depressed, you're living in yesterday. Neither of them do anything good for you right now. Simply be present now as things unfold. It has been said many times that there is magic in the innocence of children. This is true. It is the part of us that we forget as we live as human beings and experience different programs and situations that keep us from that innocence. Incorporate the innocence. Find the childlike energy in you and let it out. You'll see magic unfold in your life in a way that you never have before. And embrace yourselves. For things that are unknown and they unfold can be a bit chaotic at first, but there's only the chaos before the order. If you allow yourself to flow, there's magic there. So the message from us in oneness is to tap into your center. Live by your heart. God lives here. Love yourselves. Heal yourselves. Grow and be the greatest version of yourselves. And do not allow the world to dictate who you are. For if you do, you simply live by the world and not by your authentic magnificence. And you were born magnificent, even if no one has told you. Allow yourself to be that beautiful golden child that you are, the child that God sees. It's true. It's true. And there's no one that can take that from you if you believe it and you accept it to be true. So free yourselves from anything that keeps you caged, anything that keeps you stuck, anything that keeps you confused, anything that keeps you separate from love, for it is simply not true. All things true can be found in love, even sometimes if love is a hard love. It's always for growth. And the more that we learn to come back to our heart centers and live by the heart, beautiful things will unfold. You simply need to trust. Trust in a way that you've never trusted before, and allow the divine to surprise you. For in that is truly an extraordinary life, with so much gratitude and so much grace. with love and guidance in this space. We are one. We are grateful. And so it is. And so that is the first time I have ever channeled in front of a group in public. I do it in private, but rarely do I do it in public. So thank you for the opportunity to be vulnerable in that way with you all, because it was new for me too. It was new for me too.
Thank you for your courage.
Thank you. And so again, I just want to share with you all, there's beauty in it. And it's going to look different for everybody. It really does, and we're to honor it authentically and trust that our heart is, so there's a heart coherence. I learned to listen to my heart. I learned to feel, breathing with my heart, to feel it. So much so that I used it as the form of I think it's called homeostasis, is muscle testing. Right? That was my muscle that I learned to test. And it has not steered me wrong. It has not. When I've asked it, and again, in any situation, I tune into my heart and I run everything through my heart. Is this right for me? I don't care how annoying I get to my guys. I'm gonna ask. I ask constantly, is this right for me? Does this serve me? And I run it through my heart. And if it feels good, I go with it. If it doesn't, there's my answer. But I've learned to trust that more than anything outside of me, and it has served me well. It has served me well. And I encourage everyone to find that within themselves. We're more powerful than we know. We're more powerful than what we've been taught. But my research in the beginning of who is God and why are there so many religions led me all the way back to a truth that we were conscious, evolved beings at one point, right? We really were. If you go and you look at the history, we knew that God lived inside at one point, but it escaped us. It escaped us. We forgot how powerful we were. But this is the great awakening that everybody is coming back to. We are cyclical beings, and so it comes back into circle. For it's time for us, it's like the golden age. It's literally, we're in Aquarius, and so it's the golden age. We have done this before. This time, if we are responsible with ourselves, full responsibility of self, it's not out there, because there's 3 fingers pointing back when we point out. There's 3, the responsibility is here. When we become responsible for our energy and the way that we show up and what we say and what we think, it changes things. And here's how I know. Here's how I know, because in the beginning I was alone and I thought that nobody would get me. And Spirit kept saying, as long as you focus here, the world's gonna adjust. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, what do I do? I am the way I am, right? So I just stayed focused here. Now, today, what I can tell you is every person that stood next to me and thought that I was crazy or challenged me, without my trying, without my needing to involve myself with their processes at all, are my biggest supporters, are the ones who come and walk with me and love me, and genuinely. And I asked Spirit, so how? And Spirit said, because you loved you. When you love you and you do that work, and you take care of you, the world comes back to reflect it to you. Mm-hmm. And this is true in this case even, which I was telling Shannon and Marco before I got here. I've known that I was going to speak. I've known for a long time that I was going to speak in front of crowds. And I'm like, I don't know how, Spirit, because I don't people that often. Right? So this is my truth, right? I'm in solitude. I love solitude. The Spirit's like, no, you're going to speak in front of people. Like, and I was telling Shannon and Marco on the 4th of July, I've been known that I was supposed to reach out to this one lady, and I finally, on the 4th of July, decided, you know what, I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't know what speakers do. I don't know why they do it. I don't know none of that. But I know Spirit said, this lady got something to teach you, and this is what she does. She teaches people how to master the stage. I reached out to her and I haven't been talking to Shannon and Marco or anybody, right? So the very next day I had a message from Marco inviting me to come and speak here. And I was like, oh, that's just divine, right? You can't make it up. Then I reached out, I told Christina that, and a couple days later I had my session with her, and she was really moved by my session with her, that she invited me to speak to her students unexpectedly. And then after that, I had another lady reach out to me again. I'm not talking to people, guys. This is what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. I'm not out there in the world chasing or looking for nothing. I'm right here, focusing here, being clear about what's going through my mind, what's going through my emotions, doing the inner work that Spirit tells me to do, which is become a clear vessel, so much so that the energy will just vibrate through you, that I can work through you as you walk through a grocery store by somebody looking at you, that I can work through, and again, it's energy. It just flows. So if I never speak a word, if I made eye contact with you, you'll be changed forever. And this is what I know. This is what I know about every person that does the inner work, though, right? It's not any one person, it's everyone. We are that powerful, whether we know it or not. And so I have seen how the impact of not actually going and working on people by just loving people, being with people, having conversations with people, being real with people, beautiful things come from that. So what I've
happy thoughts too.
yeah, and it just, it's so much easier. It just flows. It all really flows, and it's beautiful because you get to experience different people, and all of it connects. All of it connects. It really, really does. And so what I'll say is that it's in here. It's the work we do inside that I have found that brings those magic, those miracles, those situations. And you're not even looking for them. That's the part that blows my mind. That I'm like, I'm not even chasing anything. I'm just here. I'm just focusing here. And the world around you will reflect it. There will always be challenge. There will always be somebody there to say, no, I got a better. None of that matters. None of it matters. What matters is in here. And beautiful things happen when we do the inner work. And that's all that I do. I live it, breathe it. That's all I do. Before I was an accountant, now it's been about 4 years now, I think, since because I've been with them since my journey started. They were my first teachers. But I have been in solitude doing this inner work for so long that all that I live for and to be, that I know is my soul calling, to bring my higher self into this human experience, to be the greatest version of myself. To break ancestral things, because again, my ancestors tell me I'm here for that too. So there's a whole lot of different kind of conversations that come from different dimensions. And ancestral karma and clearing it and healing it is a huge part of me being here. My ancestors were like, you gonna do this. And this is what I do. I sit and I do it. And it's rewarding and it's beautiful. It's challenging for those other, it's challenging, but it works. Like, it really, really works when we do the inner work. So the inner work is what? Reflecting on emotions and thoughts. Ask, yes.
You ready for a question?
Yes, absolutely.
So Ruby, what I hear you saying, I've heard you say this inner work, inner work, inner work. For somebody that's never done this, what is inner work to you? In your words, what is that? How would one experience that in their physical and also their emotional, and mental states? How would you say that would work?
I would first recommend mindfulness. Now, when I say mindfulness, it's becoming aware of the thoughts, and by natural byproduct of it is when you become aware of the thoughts, the next step is to become aware of the emotions that connect to that thought. Why that's so important is because a lot of times we'll find that it's not always ours. But here's how you'll know. You're gonna know the way it feels. So first, I would say, become aware of what things feel like. And then mindfulness, as an addition to that, is going to assist us in clearing these things that sometimes aren't ours, and then sometimes they are. They're old belief systems, right? They're things that are programmed, ways of thinking that have been passed down to us, or it's part of society. It's a different way of looking at things, but it's inside, looking within, looking at, okay, so what are the thoughts in my mind? The way I started is I put an alarm on my phone, and it will go off 5 times in a day in the beginning, because I did not know how to look at my emotions. I did not know how to look in the mind. I didn't know that. I didn't understand how to do that. So I Googled, I searched, and what I found was there was a lady that said if you put an alarm on your phone and you take note at least however many times, whatever number you feel good. For me, I had to do it in the beginning at least 5 times a day to just stop and ask myself, how am I feeling right now? What am I feeling? And sometimes I wasn't feeling anything, and I would just write down nothing, but the more and more that I practiced it, I stayed dedicated to that, the more and more I became aware of not only my emotions, I was starting to look at the cycles of my emotions. Like I had cycles. Yeah, there's a time of the month that I was a little bit more edgy, or again, but only documenting it did I learn about myself. So I learned to ask myself at least 5 times a day, how am I feeling? Then, and that stayed for a while. I can't even tell you guys that I did that a couple times and then I got it. No, it was for a while that I did that before I even moved on to the whole mind part, which was, okay, now that you see your cycles and you can sense what this feeling is, now take a look at your thoughts. And again, months later, not even weeks later for me, I'm being honest, it took me a while just learning how to feel the emotions. So once I got to the point where I was feeling all my emotions, I was super hypersensitive to emotions. Spirit's like, now look at your thoughts. Pay attention to your thoughts. What's going through your mind? Are they true? Does it serve you? Is it even yours? So again, even like that, the same way that I did it with the, the phone, I would stop just a couple times a day and ask myself, what am I thinking? Where are my thoughts? Now, all that being said, that was the beginning. Again, that stayed for a while. That worked for a while. I stayed in that space, and I want to say, man, 6 months even. It wasn't quick at all for me, guys. It wasn't quick. But once I got it, here's what I learned. The whole time, Spirit was telling me to be aware of my thoughts. Spirit was really like constantly, every time I would become aware of a thought, Spirit's like, well, you don't need that. Put that down. The whole time, the goal was to, we say mindfulness. What Spirit was telling me was mindlessness. Mindlessness, less thoughts, more being in the heart and trusting and flowing. But I had to learn that over time. I had to learn that, and it took me a while because I wanted it right away like everybody else, but I didn't know what I wanted. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I want to add a little something. When it comes to feeling good and noticing how things feel and, asking yourself that question every day, even the smallest things, like the smallest things count. Is this food that I'm eating what I wanted to eat today? How can I make my bathroom experience better? How can I make my room feel better? It's the smallest little things that get you started, and then it's easier to build up from that.
Absolutely, yes. It is the little things. It's all subtle. It really is. And one thing Spirit tells me a lot is, God is simple, man is complicated. And again, it's the mind. It's the mind and the heart. God is simple, man is complicated. So when we look at that in terms of heart and mind, we don't exist without both. We need both, but there's a balance. And in order to achieve that balance, we have to be able to find a stillness, whether it be for just a small period in the day or whatnot it be. We have to find that flow for us. It's a rhythm and it's a flow that's unique to every single one of us. This is why I think that I struggled a lot whenever I was constantly looking for it out there. I kept thinking, okay, well, the teacher says that it's like that, but it doesn't happen for me that way. Like, something wrong with me? Am I doing it wrong? Am I doing it wrong? Exactly. But in the end, it's because we're so unique. We're so different. It's just maybe not that one. So you keep going until you find whatever the one is, whatever that is. But the whole thing for me has been constantly seeking myself, seeking whatever it is I need to have a better, greater experience for myself. And then teaching my children as a result, because for me, the greatest part of this ancestral work is for my children to have a whole brand new experience. That's important to me. And so I share all of this, again, just human to human, spirit to spirit, that it's a journey and it's beautiful. And I have found that the inner work, meaning the mindfulness, the awareness of the emotions, becoming aware of thyself, is very powerful in anything that we do from that point on, whether it be healing work or whatever. It's like, it's the foundation. I found that I had to have a solid foundation before I went out there, because at first I was like, I know this thing, I'm gonna go and try it on people. Well, that didn't go really well for me. And I learned like all kinds of lessons around that. But here's the thing, it was needed. And I learned that just wasn't for me, and that I still had more work to do in here. And I'm okay with however long it's gonna take me to get there, because just like a couple of months of paying attention to my emotions before I can listen to my mind, I understand why that happened that way. I had to understand a step at a time. And that's how it's been. And it takes a little bit longer. I want to say it takes longer, but I don't know what time frame I'm speaking on, because right? That's just a human in me. But still, as human beings, we tend to want to achieve something a lot faster. And I say that we, because that's where I was. I wanted to achieve something, and I didn't even know what it was. I just knew this whole spiritual thing was new, and there was something to achieve. But it wasn't. It wasn't. It's just self. Yes?
So here's what I heard you say, and especially when you were talking about foundation.
Yes.
So people that don't do this practice,
Mm-hmm.
how would you describe, or what would you suggest that they start seeking their foundation? You know, what is your foundation? And
Okay.
it's like building a house. Where did you start at? What is that foundation that you began, and how would somebody else seek their foundation?
Okay, so for me, first thing, I don't feel like my foundation would be any kind of foundation without God. First and foremost, that's my honest truth. First and foremost is God. I found me only after I found God. And so coming back, whatever form that is for everybody, because that takes different forms, right? Everybody, modality, whatnot, honor that, because there's no wrong way. Trust yourself. But here's the thing, from that point on, knowing God and learning to trust not only God, then myself. So it was a level and a layer at a time, trusting what I'm feeling, trusting what I am running through my mind, and most importantly, then in foundation is responsibility. 100%. It doesn't work without responsibility. I've learned that there's no out there. It's all here. It's all here. Everything I think, I say, I feel, I am responsible for. 100%. It is not somebody else's fault that I am in any situation. It is mine. I put myself there because I allowed it in one way or another, period. That is hard to accept sometimes in some situations, because again, I get it, because there was times where I was like, there's no way it could be me, right? There's no way. But with time, when I would sit and I learned to be still, Spirit would talk to me and tell me, no, Ruby, this is how it's your love. And then I would sit and I'd see these images and see these things the Spirit would show me, and then I'd be real honest with myself. Completely honest with myself about what that really is. And I would base my decisions on that. But taking full responsibility of myself first, not other people. It's not other people's fault that I am where I am in life. It's not even fault, it's my choice. And I am where I'm supposed to be always. Always growing, always evolving. But absolutely it is, the foundation for me, is God, trust, responsibility. Period. That's what I have found on my journey. And I'm still learning. I'm still growing. You know, I don't know that we ever do. I think we keep coming back. But nonetheless, for me, I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And so new things unfold every day. So I feel like my purpose and what I want to do in terms of coming out here and talking to people is to not only inspire people, connect with people that have similar stories, like-minded people, so that we can be a support system for each other. Because it's a journey, and sometimes it can get, we support each other in this way. And so God tells me, when you learn all of these things and you start seeing beautiful miracles, you have a responsibility to love your neighbor. Share what you know in a story. Share your story and let them take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because everybody has a different path. There's no right or wrong way to do any of it. It's just your way, and the key is your responsibility. The key is in responsibility. So this is where I stand, this is where I sit, this is my approach, and I hope that it is beneficial to you all in whichever way, shape, or form that is. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you all. Thank you for the opportunity to practice. Thank you both. I love you. I'm incredibly grateful for you.
So are you open to take questions?
Sure, absolutely.
Is Spirit open to take questions?
Sure, always. Always. Always, yes.
Anybody have any questions?
Please, because I learn as you ask. If you ask, I learn. We will learn together. So
She's practicing playing full out, and so in doing so, people asking questions helps her explore her inner self. Go ahead, Marco.
yes.
So for someone who's always resonated with channeling myself, and that's been something I've always been drawn to, what kind of advice would you give somebody to express or allow themselves to have that experience? What was your experience prior allowing yourself to really channel?
So my first channeling came through without, it was weird. It was like it kind of took over me, right? So it was scary. But every time after that I've done it, it's been an allowing and a trusting. An allowing it and trusting that whatever is gonna come is gonna come. This is the first time I've done it in front of people. So again, I've had a fear of that because I don't always know what's gonna be said. It just comes out. And I have zero control over what's being said at all. And so it's like being okay with that. You know what I mean? Because for me, that's been my struggle. Like, I don't know if I'm really ready for people to see that I'm like this different.
Like, I'm different, but I'm like, I don't know. I want them to know.
The cards were one thing, just going real far with the boundaries.
Getting the PhD when you start
Stepping
to
outside the circles.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would say learn to trust self and then play full out. Because again, it takes bravery, it takes trust, it takes all those things, but trust it. And I think that the more that we do it, the easier it's gonna be and the more it's just gonna flow. It's gonna be a natural thing. There's so many people in the world that do it already. We all do. We all have that ability. That's what Spirit tells me. We're all
Every
blessed
day.
in this way. We really are. There's nothing different about any of us. It's a reflection or mirrors of what we truly are. And so it's trusting. It's trusting it no matter what the world thinks. No matter what.
And seeing the simplicity, even though everybody wants to convolute it, but you just keep focused on the simplicity of things.
It is. It really is.
It always goes back to simplicity, and I laugh at myself. I'm like,
Oh my God, it's so
I think
simple.
about it too much.
It is. It's the simple. It's the subtle, simple, and those are the leaps and bounds.
We want to rationalize it in our intellect that what is it true or not true, and I struggle with
I'm
that.
like, am I making this up, or is there really something?
It's like he tells me, I think I'm talking to myself, and I say, yeah, freely. So it's not talking to yourself, it's that you are hearing, and it's different when you start hearing stuff and you're like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
When you have to put through a message, and I'm like, am I supposed to be doing that? I was like, ooh, that makes a difference. Trusting.
Yes.
Thank you.
Trusting and clearing the mind. That's one thing. Spirit always reminds me I have to clear, meaning I can't have a single thought or single emotion. I need to be in that stillness, because if I have anything in here, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna have a hard time connecting, because spirit only flows when I'm clear. And so again, my greatest work is me, to be clear, to be a clear channel for the energy to flow through. That is my work. And the more and more I dedicate and do that, the clearer the energy can flow. And so I have found that to be true, especially in channeling.
Yeah, that
especially.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Definitely makes sense. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I've heard this one too. Is it true that you can't eat meat if you're a channeler? Or
Say that again?
Is it superstitious? Like,
What?
people say you can't channel if you eat meat. Is that just a silliness?
No, that's not true. That's not true. I don't believe that. Here's why I say, when I went to the UK, because I went to the UK to go learn from I went to learn something. And I went to learn something.
We'll leave it
And
at
he was
that.
there. Yeah, like, let me stick to what's important. I was on a diet where it did not include eating meat. This is the first time, because I'm a meat eater. Like, don't play with my meat. I love my chicken and my fish. Maybe not so much meat, but I eat meat. Well, I had put it down for this program because it was part of it. Man, there was one day we were in class, and this is where I knew telepathy was really real, because I was sitting in class, and all of a sudden I could hear everybody talking. And so I look up, nobody's mouths are moving. Scared the shit out of me, because I'm like, did I go crazy? Like, am I that far gone? You know what I mean? Because nobody's mouth was moving. Nobody's mouth was moving. And I was so scared. I started praying. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I got scared. Like, in all honesty, I was scared. I didn't have the whole, like, oh, this is great. No, I was scared. And so I immediately asked God, what do I do? God said, eat meat. Drop your frequency. Eat meat. Eat meat is what Spirit told me. Eat meat and you'll drop you won't hear it. You won't hear it. You'll drop your frequency. I was way too high in frequency. It was not good. It was not a good experience. Yes, ma'am.
Well, that was my question, is that I've been a medium and a channel spirit for as long as I can remember.
Yes.
But in the last quarantine
Mm-hmm.
or in the isolation, I have started to be able to hear people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they're humans
Yeah.
and they can tell me things about themselves, but only if I know it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Like
Yeah.
it's an experience, yeah.
Yes. Compliment.
And shit, I'll eat all the meat. Is that the problem? Am I not eating enough meat?
Well, here's the thing. What Spirit
That's
tells
me,
me is
it's like,
everybody's
ooh.
different. Spirit says that
Oh, no, I
everybody
have to have
is
meat.
different.
Totally agree.
You have your
Marco
vibration.
will tell you when I'm channeling and the other guy's in, even when we go to the restaurant, he's gonna order meat.
Yeah.
But it ain't the meat that I would get, that Shannon eats, it's a very specific thing, and then when Shannon comes back in and the food comes and I'm going,
What is this?
Marco goes, the other guy ordered for you.
That's what you're eating, that's
It
what
was
you
the
get
other guy,
stuck
it was
with.
the other guy. Yeah, no, it does change. Spirit did tell me that, cause it's not about, being a meat eater or not. Everybody's different. Our makeup, our energy is different. So again, our energy from past lives, all of that plays a factor. Like all of it connects. And so if you've had an essence in a past life that, you know, you ate a certain way, in this lifetime, you may be drawn to it, and it's part of what serves you to, you know, have that diet, but it's different for everybody, is what Spirit tells me. So again, I get back to, there's no right or wrong to do anything. You know, based on how you feel and what your experience is of it. And this is what I recommend everybody. Try it, and if it works for you, then that's what's for you. But if it doesn't, then you put it down and you keep going. Because again, everybody's energy, their makeup is different. So we'll
Cause
be their
I will
diets.
share with you, I used to be a vegetarian big time for years and years and years, because that's what I thought, until I was so far out there, I thought I was like,
Cosmic cowboy.
I was always, and that's what Spirit told me, nope, you have to eat meat. Not necessarily to ground or lower my frequency,
Mhm.
it's because it's a part of the third dimensional
Makes
reality.
sense, yeah.
And
It's a part of being human.
see,
Like being human, yeah. Yeah.
even Christ ate lamb and ate fish, and you know, he gave fish as part of the food and bread.
Right.
So people that say, oh, you gotta be a grass eater, oh no, I'm sorry, sweetheart.
Well,
My
you make
body
an
didn't
interesting
get like
point.
this by eating.
You make an interesting point about
Dulce.
frequency though, like, you know, are we supposed to be, as a general rule, I think for the age of Aquarius, that we're all supposed to be, raising our frequency
Yes.
to
Yes.
help Gaia.
Yes.
And
See.
to kind of turn everything over, but
Good.
are we supposed to be playing with what frequency works best for us, because we're all individuals that can show up at a different party
Yeah.
at a different.
Yeah,
So
because
I have a different belief about this Gaia thing. People say, Gaia don't need my help. If she decides she wants to change her frequency, she's gonna do it so
Yeah.
quick, and it's not, she's done it over eons and many, many times.
right.
She's shifted her energy, the polar thing, so many times to correct energies. And when I tap into her and I'm talking to her, she's like, well, here, let's do this.
Right.
And normally when she does that, there's gonna be earthquakes or volcanoes
Something
or
big.
something.
Something big, yeah.
But that's the shift. If you see what's happening, it's the shift in the energy. Even planes, they have to change their true north.
Right.
See, when we came into this reality and we got into be the soul, we tapped into that north. And now we are going back to the true north, which is the true energy of where we're going to. And people are still stuck over here on this
Right.
one.
Right.
No, this is what I know. No, this one over here is better.
Yeah.
Get over here.
Yeah.
It's to the this way.
Yeah.
It's the way.
But it's
It's
the
the way. That way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But in that place.
Yep.
And you know, for me, when I began channeling, because of my belief system of being something of God, you know, it's like a Pentecostal. This was evil.
Right. Right.
When Christ would come in and speak, and I started doing that, was evil, and I thought, oh my God, I'm possessed by the devil. You know, the devil
Yeah.
came in,
Right?
Cucuy.
but I had to let that belief system go because that was not my truth. That was somebody else's that taught me and said, oh my God, I'm a sinner, I'm this, I'm that.
Right.
And I had to stop. I had to go, well, wait a minute, that had nothing to do with nothing. Jesus channeled God. That's what he was channeling. And I was like, come on, guys, let's do this. I mean, it's all energy.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I feel it goes back to what you mentioned at the beginning, you know, you create a dialogue within yourself, you filter everything through the heart. Is this good for me right now,
Yes.
for me?
Yes.
So whether it's eating meat or doing what you need to do at that moment, is this for my highest good in the
Yes.
moment?
Absolutely. I run everything this way. When I have found sovereignty in that. You know, I have really truly found sovereignty in that. So I recommend it for everybody to learn to trust their hearts. To learn to listen and trust the heart. It's powerful. It's life changing. Absolutely.
So I will share something about food
Mm.
and energy. When you go out to eat or you go somewhere and you eat and you leave that place and you feel like all these weird thoughts, you should go in and ask to talk to the chef
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and see what type of attitude they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're preparing food, or they're preparing food, or if they have a chaos in their kitchen, everything you eat is vibrational and it goes into your body, and then you're going.
So if there's-
I tipped the chefs at Christmas last year, and they have been making me the best food, and it is no different from the food they make for everyone else.
That's
you know,
right.
like
Wow.
it just
Yeah.
has a good attitude on it because they know it's me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you're putting that
yeah,
extra juice
exactly.
of love in there.
Yeah.
That
So that was that movie Ratatouille,
See?
was that all about that?
Mm-hmm.
It was
It's the experience. Me and my friend Vince, we went to eat at Black Eyed Pea in Austin one time, and we never argued. We
Mhm.
never argued, but when we left that place, I thought we were gonna have a fist fight. And so we both got out. We were gonna just throw down right there.
oh boy.
We didn't call each other QMFs and all kind of fun names.
Yeah.
But when we went back in, you can hear the chef back there cussing out everybody in the kitchen, the environment, and we were like, whoa, because he's sensitive
Did
like
you guys
me.
hug afterwards? I'm so sorry.
No, we had it was really fun to us. We thought it was really good
Yeah.
because we're so sensitive. It's like me. I can go places. I'm so sensitive to people and things. I have to pay attention to me. Prior to going into Walmart, I have to set the intention. I have to color my energy this way and not out like that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, Marco is there to take me out of there because I'm going.
He
Marco, I
spaces
can't
out.
move.
No,
can't
I
move.
get it. I get
I
it.
just can't go. I
Yeah.
like freaked.
Mm.
But it's the energy and it's how we move and understanding what is yours and what is somebody else's.
Yeah.
And it's like she said, it took me a long time.
Yeah, I'm still doing it. Like, in all
You have a
honesty,
question?
I'm no expert. I'm
Please.
still learning.
So what happens when you get like really dark thoughts? Like you wanting to hurt or kill someone?
No,
What do you
yeah.
use?
No, I've been there. Been there. All right, let me help you out. No, so
I even
breathing.
went to the place where you bury the body.
Breathing helps through it. Again, first thing is being aware that it's there and accepting it. That's me. I can only share what I do. I breathe through it because I'm hella pissed in the moment. First I breathe. I calm the emotion as best I can. And then I take responsibility for the thought, meaning this is true for me in this moment. It doesn't
That's
mean
right.
that it's right or wrong. I don't judge it. It's
Take
true for me.
responsibility.
I take
Yeah.
responsibility for it wholeheartedly, that I am pissed and why I'm all that. I just run it through and I accept it. There's something really subtle in the energy when we do that. It's almost like the breathing in itself and the acceptance starts to just dissipate the whole thing. And then before you know it, the thought's not even there and you're done and you're over it. It's different for everybody in terms of how long that lasts, but you have the power to do that. You really, really do. And it's being aware, pulling yourself back in here, breathing, taking responsibility for that thought, for that emotion, and not judging yourself right or wrong for it. That's a key, an absolute key in
That's true.
curing, healing, moving, transmuting it. You know, whatever word feels right for that particular energy that's present, because it's different for all of us. But breathing and pulling yourself in, taking responsibility for it, and accepting it as a part of you, not separate from you, is definitely a key.
I'll go with her because, like, for me being in combat, losing a child, many things like that, there was a lot of, I was in the darkest place I think I could ever be, deep down in devil land, on the floor, dark, it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take responsibility for every breath I took, every moment I was in, and take that experience. I am angry, and I am taking responsibility for my anger.
Yep.
And I have to be responsible on the way that I'm bringing my anger out.
Yes.
Now, I had to seek out people to assist me,
Right.
you know,
Right.
boxing gloves, beat up things,
Right.
scream at the trees a couple of times, a lot of tequila. But in my own self, that was the key, is instead of running from that feeling, I sat down with it and took responsibility for it.
Yeah.
This is my grief, this is my experience, these are the things that I had to be, and it's not easy.
Mm-mm.
I will tell you, it's not easy being cheesy.
No.
I tell you from experience.
You make it seem so easy.
Francis will tell you, several people that's known me from when I very first started my journey,
Yeah.
I was fucked up, excuse my language.
Yeah.
I was
No.
really fucked up spiritual person.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'm like, how in the, God, why did you choose me?
Yeah, what was
Me.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
I was taught to kill. I did things that I had to do. I did all these things, weird, wacky things, and then you're gonna and God's like, well, why not?
Yeah.
You're the best person for the job.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's awesome, thank you. And we run from our own self. We run from our own darkness. We run from our own responsibility.
Yes.
And that's when people say, oh, the ego ain't had nothing to do with the damn thing because you created to make responsibility for somebody else.
Yeah.
The ego did it. Oh, no. You did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Always
made the
so.
choice.
Or he started it and you finished
That's
it. Because he'll yap in there, but you don't have to actually do it.
That's right.
Right.
But it's in that place of just turning around. I always go like, sit down and turn around and look at the dragon
Yeah.
that you've been running from, and then you might see yourself sit.
That's right.
across
I
from
always
you.
see myself when I turn around and I look at it. It's
Yeah,
it's
and you've been like,
Look, it's
oh
every time.
shit.
Every time, like, oh shit, didn't see that one. Damn. Take it, write it down. So I can remember it next time. Yes.
But then you get to work with yourself and take
Yes.
responsibility of understanding, wait. And, I stopped using the word heal in my experience because I'm not broke.
Mm.
Thank you.
And
Confirmation.
I explore myself.
yeah.
I'm exploring myself and bringing myself into this understanding of my experience.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Because
Learn-
it's never gonna end.
No.
Where are you going?
Yes.
Once you get there, you're gonna be like, okay, now what's next?
What
Yeah,
am I
there's
doing
some-
next?
there's
It's
always
boring.
something else.
It's always gonna be more. So
It's always gonna be more.
just
be.
relax.
Yeah, just be.
You're
I love
gonna
that
get
word. That's the word. That's it.
Relax.
Relax. Just relax.
Don't do
You're good. You're good.
So I have another question for channeling. Yeah, people think that only special few people what is the truth behind channeling? Is everyone able to do that?
Spirit tells me that everybody has the ability to channel, that we're channeling it whether we know it or not.
That's right.
And the difference is sometimes we have contracts with our galactic families, our ancestors. It's different energies that sometimes will come through because there's particular lesson,
Right.
message, whatnot. And like for Shannon, how he changes, Jesus will just channel right through him. So it's different for everybody, but not because everybody has the ability. It's just whether one believes and is open to it is what Spirit tells me. Now, again, I
Spirit
just,
always says that you channel every day, you just don't realize it.
you just don't realize it. Yeah, that's what Spirit says.
So if you're
Or
watching
channel.
this, you're a channeler.
Yes.
If
So
you're
have
here,
you ever been,
And how
have
you're
you ever
channeling
asked a
what you're
question?
channeling, who you're
Have you ever
channeling.
asked a question inside yourself and then you go and talk to somebody and they give you the answer?
All the time.
All the time. All the time.
They're channeling for you.
That's it.
The message I got was that we get 3,000 messages a day,
Mm.
and then some of us get 5.
You're like
Or
maybe
more.
one out of the 5,000 per day. You're like,
The question is,
That's
do you
what it-
listen to those?
Oh,
You see, that's the
No, they
thing.
keep coming until you listen.
That's the,
The
that's
message
the,
changes
that's the
once you
key,
got it.
listening
Yes,
to
it
it.
just
That's-
keeps going.
Listening. It's in the listening. Yes, learning to
It
trust.
always
and
is. That's why I tell people ask me, Shannon, how do you do? I said, look, you don't understand. I walk in like 3 or 4 worlds at the same time. Marco will tell you, if you're with me all day, every day, it becomes my world is way different because I'm working with my galactic people and working in this realm and I'm getting information here and then I have the 3D world that's going on and I have to function in the 3D
it's
world.
like 5 TVs and you're watching 5 different TV shows and he's like,
Which, I don't get this world too often. It's like, oh my God, okay, it's just another life. Here we go again. Can we do this again? And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
But I'm working in different realms and working with different beings and getting information. Like she said, it's so much information coming. And it's like, okay, guys, used to make me like exhausted and
Mhm.
so confused in my head. I was just confused. I didn't know what to do until I said, hey,
One at a time.
not necessarily one at a time, but I need only galactic information can be filed in this energy,
Yeah.
only this space. So when I'm tapping in and I'm
You know the
working and
difference.
somebody says, so I will share with this. There was a stellar gateway that opened up just the other day, like a couple of days ago. And I'm watching it, so if you watch how I work, you'll see me either stare here or stare here or
Mhm.
stare here. If I'm working with somebody, I'm gonna stare downwards and look kind of that way, and I'm working with their ancestors and I'm looking and I'm looking in that channel, in that place. But if I'm working with the star beings and stuff, I'm gonna be right here. You're gonna see me look up here.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, okay.
what we doing here?
This is what we're doing. Okay. You know. But in I guess I'm multidimensional being, and everybody in this room is a multidimensional being. You just gotta understand, okay, I need to put it in filing to where I'm getting information. The information is coming, and I don't have to be aware of it. It's just being flowing in.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
Because I was nosy,
Yes.
and I had to know everything that was
Yeah.
coming in.
Hey, no, straight up, me too.
Yeah, no, now-
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
She's I want to know everything. Give it all.
Well, listen to this. It's like if you want to know the angels, I always have. That's how I operate. Okay, this is my star beings. This is where I'm working with this energy, and my angels are here. And when I tap into that
This is
energy,
different energy than this.
even though I'm not conscious, they're still downloading and they're working.
Mhm.
And if I need that information, all I do is tap in there, and anything that I'm wanting to know is there.
Yes.
It is there. It's already been downloaded into my fields. It's there. I don't let it download into my brain.
Because you ran out of space.
No, it makes my brain too big. It makes my brain too.
They keep it in the cloud.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. It's in the
In the
cloud.
cloud, just tap in, grab it, and I'm like, keep this clear, you know?
Like
Yeah.
the
Yes,
records.
because the mind, when you try to put it
Mindless,
into words,
mindless.
when you try to put it into words, your mind twists it, and then the words have concepts attached to them, and so it twists the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just let the energy come through, and then yeah.
Go ahead. Owen.
Alright, so, yeah, I find that I have to organize my mind for where the messages come from. And currently, it's organized by gender, but incorrectly. Which is amazing because it's not important,
Right.
Mm.
because we're all energy anyways, but it helps me catch the cast of characters really good.
Yes.
But that's a good point, that.
For
'cause-
me, you know what I did? I was
No,
like,
I don't,
okay.
keep going.
Tell us, please.
I've been doing this for so long, I will share. And these are the things I really wanna start teaching people, because in working, I actually called in an organizational team
Yeah, I have
To-
teams, I delegate.
to,
Yes.
to work,
Yes.
an organizational team that will help me file everything as it comes in, the way it's supposed to be, so that I have easy access to it. So like I say, I go back to, okay, this is the cosmic energies, the starseed energies, I have it here, and I can pull my little Rolodex and go, brrrr. Well, they'll make sure it's all there. When I started doing that, boom, I even have an interpreter. I call in an interpreter for languages that I don't understand, especially star languages or off-planet languages, or even Spanish. People, relatives come in and speak Spanish to me. Well, I have an interpreter that interprets it
It's very well.
into English, my
Nice.
language. I request those so that I,
Request your
and I
needs,
thought,
asking you shall receive.
That is so interesting to get, think about being organized, because oftentimes I call Lorena, I said, I got this message about the blue moon, the this and that.
It's
I said-
unorganized, I'm like.
And I'm like getting everywhere, and she goes, well, you know, she writes it down, but I never, ever crossed my mind to ask for getting organized. This
I
is-
see,
Yeah.
once I start
Yeah,
getting
me
it
too.
and it starts coming through and I will call Marco, he has to start writing it.
That's what Lorena does. for
We
me,
reflect
because-
and we dissect it,
Yeah.
right?
And then he'll ask questions.
Yeah,
Mm,
cause
yeah.
that's, sometimes I don't understand what they mean, exactly what they're for.
So when they took me to mystery school, every night for a year, I went to mystery school. And they taught me the Fibonacci numbers, I know nothing about it, and they were teaching me this mathematical sequence. They were teaching me all of these things in the mystery schools. But it was actually me remembering me.
Bring him back.
And understanding, oh, look, you're in this area, you were here in the galactic space, and you left there, and now you're here. And you've been here for this many cycles now, and this is what's transpiring and what's happening. So in the mystery schools, they teach me, it's not necessarily magic, it's more like you're understanding the cosmology, it's like getting the PhD, but all of that information did go somewhere.
Yeah.
So I did, I just started asking, hey, what do I do? This is too confusing for me, I can't, I'm thinking I have to store it in this brain, and my brain, it's like, I have to be in a three-dimensional reality, and I can't put anything else in there.
Yeah.
It's like I remember graduating high school a second time.
You're like, okay.
And then I got a PhD. I had this dream, I finished graduating, and it was, but I got a PhD, but it wasn't from here, it was from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I work in that place when you say master, it's like, oh, I love when people say they're master. I'm not a master of anything. I'm just
I wouldn't be here if I was.
Oh my God, that's been so helpful. Ooh.
Remember, I was telling somebody, oh, you want to be a master? Let's go cleanse a house. You could be the lead. You can be the lead. If you want to be the master, show me what you got,
Right.
because I know nothing.
And that's what Spirit tells me too. If I clear myself enough, again, that's my work, right? My inner work is to stay clear.
Mhm.
There's power in the innocence. There's power
That's
in not
right.
knowing. Because then it's so pure, it's so divine, it's not tainted. When I have no thoughts, no emotions, no nothing, and I stay in the innocence again. Before I wanted to know, I wanted to understand everything. Like show me, prepare me for whatever's next. Like that was me.
That-
that was
Guess
me.
what happened? I'm done with that. I don't want to learn anymore.
You get
That's what I told him. I said,
Yeah, I had to just stop.
I said, Neil,
We're done playing
I
with
can't
that.
do this anymore. You're gonna have to do it yourself. You want to have that experience when I've done it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna observe you, you flounder a while, it'll be all right.
And boy, did I flip flop for a long
Uh-huh.
time. Can't even count the months.
Yeah.
I flip flop for months on that one, but it's freeing.
So Ruby, when you say clear,
Hmm.
does that mean that you don't have no thoughts, or?
No, I'm human. I'm an imperfect human being, full of faults, and I honor and accept them.
So give it
When I say clear-
understanding about clear.
Right, when I say clear, I mean that I empty my mind and I empty my emotions in a sense of when I'm going to channel, when I'm gonna work with other people, I do my best to be in that place in my heart, clear of any thoughts and any emotions that would taint whatever it is that I'm there to be a vessel for. So that is the clearing. Now the clearing every day, so to say, because I'm constantly clearing. I'm mostly clearing ancestral stuff. And what I mean by that is I'll be walking and all of a sudden I'll get a vision of an ant that of some habit or something that they have where I can start connecting how that habit kind of is similar in my family. Again, it's all connected ancestral. So when I say that I'm clearing, I will start clearing on things like that. And what I do is I'll do Ho'oponopono, things like that, but it comes randomly. I never know. I can't even plan for it when these things show up. That's how random it is. But this is why I made it a habit to always clear. It's like a part of me that I've taken the Ho'oponopono in itself into the subconscious where it's on constant repeat, constant clearing for those things which I do not know, because I only know what I know. There's things we don't know. And so in a way to remain pure in my authenticity in who I am as a being in this planet, I constantly clear myself from anything that doesn't serve me. So again, we have hurdles, we have challenges, we have those things, but what Spirit tells me is that when we become so aware and so responsible with ourselves, we become a player in the game. You can choose what challenges really, and again, it's not so much choosing the challenges, it's eliminating the challenges that you don't need, that are just repetitive and wasteful, and all it takes is an acceptance, a being one with it, right? And then it kind of clears that from being in the cycle of repeating itself. That is where I clear. That's where I spend time clearing those things, so that what I do experience is only what serves me in my greatest and highest good.
That makes sense.
Go ahead.
You wanna go first? You want me to go first?
Well, I have a question. Why do you get like music in your brain activating, but like throughout the day sometimes I'm just like doing a task and then like there's a song that comes up into my head and I'm trying to like, okay, brain, shut up, I need to
It's the
concentrate.
message.
It's
a
the
message.
message.
Yeah.
It's the message. Yeah, it's
But
literally
you
the
know why
message.
we don't pay
It shows up
attention
in
to
music
it?
for me.
Yeah,
I'm like, I love
music for me
music.
too. It shows
I'll
So
up.
wake
what
up
do
in
you
the
do with
morning
the
and have
music
it.
then? What do you do with the music? Like she says,
You
I get,
listen.
You listen to
It
the
has
song,
lyrics
look
or
into
it
the
has
words.
something, a
There's
message
certain
for you.
phrases will
oh my
pop to
God,
you.
there are days
Or how
like
does
I
it feel
listen
like,
and
or
listen to the
reminds
same
you
song over and
something?
over and I'm like,
What
Can
does
I
it
tell
say?
you a nice way to practice?
yes, please.
Okay, so you can journal it. So I sat down specifically with my iPhone and put it on shuffle, like the whole
I love that.
whatever on my phone.
Mhm.
And stuff comes up and then I'll sit and write when I hear something. You know, like when a phrase stands out to me, you write it down.
Mhm.
And then when you're done writing, you start listening again. And you write again. And sometimes that shit is so pathetic. Like, I mean, it
Yeah,
just blows
yeah,
Really?
my
yeah.
I've
mind.
never
Okay.
paid
If you
attention to doing
practice
it.
for long enough.
Yeah, I
like-
don't have the discipline to.
This is
Well,
what-
you don't have to do it for, I mean, you do it for 30, you do it for the amount of time you have. It's kind of like meditating. You just get into the songs, you
Mhm.
meditate with the music, and then you go back to it later. Like, it's not like you do it all day or you do it to the radio. You don't do it while driving, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you do it when you're doing it.
You create time for it.
Yeah.
Take your time and space for it.
Yeah.
And
5
then
minutes.
at some point, you stop needing it. So, like, I don't journal my music anymore because A, I look batshit crazy. But B,
You're in the right place.
I know. I was getting that message too. It starts to come to me in my head now, and I've gotten better about listening to what the message is at the time, and so it goes way faster. Because the same songs, the same download. So I usually use the songs that are downloaded because my phone takes over and is in charge of like, it'll be like, oh, there's not enough memory for that one. Oh, there's memory for this one. And so I use the download songs, but anyways, now it happens that I can can hear the message easier and clearer in my head, and so it goes way faster. And so, you know, the song it's called an earworm, you know, like it gets in your ear and you hear it,
Oh my
and you
God.
hear it and you hear it, and it goes on over and over again until you're like, no, I know what you were saying there, and I've got some Wonder. Thanks, we can turn off Wonder by Oasis now.
Yeah.
So here's my guides. When I first started, I had the same experience. I was living in Austin I had a roommate, and I just couldn't. Evidently, I wasn't getting something. So every morning, I would wake up with, "I saw the signs. They opened up my eyes. I saw the signs." So every day, and I kept thinking, "My God, why does this song keep coming in
What
there?"
sign are you talking about?
But I wasn't putting it together, and I just kept like going, and you know there was some weird things that was happening, and they kept going. I saw the signs.
I'm like, come on, Linda, you listen.
And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, what am I missing? Let me see what the signs are. And then when I started paying attention to the signs, the song went away.
Yep.
So now, anytime I'm going through life and something I'm missing, they will come back with that song. And I have to sit down and go, wait, what did I just miss? What sign did I miss? Where did I?
That makes so much sense.
Yes.
Cause I had, for a while there, but both hands, these two fingers would be numb.
Yeah.
And then I would, what the hell, why those two, both hands would be not, both hands and the fingers, and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot feel it, and I'll be doing that, and I'm like, okay. One day I said, wait a minute, they're trying to tell me something, so this is gonna ground me. I was like, I'm so scattered and so disorganized and receiving so much stuff that I lost it. I saw you
Well,
guys
that
talking
might be what
about.
that is too, because that's your receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Receptive to
That's your
receive.
mudra
For the mudra for receiving,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I.
To listen.
So you
now-
might just have been receiving so much that the body couldn't handle it. You could handle it, but your fingers were like,
Oh my God, they were numb for weeks at a time.
It circulates, you close the circuit.
And I'm like, okay, so I said, it's gotta be, I've been scatterbrained all my life. I'm La La Land all my life. So it's like, and when I went to church and they said, well, my gifts are from the devil, that made it even worse. And then I had an
That sounds
experience
fun.
with him and my best friend, and I started being scared of everything, so now
Yeah.
you guys are putting my brain back together again. Thank you guys.
So, go ahead.
I still have my question, but you can finish that. I'm just reminding you, I still
No,
have a
go ahead.
question.
Give me a question.
Okay.
She got it. She's excited. This is what she's ever
I'm
told.
excited about her.
She's like, oh, this is what I need.
I think we all,
I've
that's
been
why we're
waiting
here.
for, okay, so I like to call it 3D and 5D.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I find that some of us are going to 5D more divinely, easily, and gracefully than others, and some of us are having, you know, like, freaking shit shows of,
Yeah.
like, going crazy. Yeah, passion, it's passion, thank you.
There you go.
Passion. We love passion.
Oh, crashing and
Girl,
going,
crashing.
well, my mind changed it to passion.
I like it, I like it, I like the
I like it,
passion.
yeah, I
Let's
can
do it
feel
through
that,
passion.
yeah.
But since the other humans
Yeah.
have come into it, I have tried to control or be more sovereign
Mm-hmm.
over my thoughts because I found that I was bothering the other awake souls.
How so?
Well, like keeping them awake or
No wonder who's been bothering me.
You're keeping me awake at
I'm
night.
not getting what you're saying, what do you
Yeah.
mean bothering keeping them awake?
well, so like if we're all one and we're all in the same consciousness.
Correct.
And to be fair, I think some of us are in 5D and some of us are still working up there.
Right.
And I'm not saying you're not, I'm just saying.
No, I understand.
But those of us, I mean, we're all completely capable. But those of us that are practicing or working with our telepathy and working with humans and not just spirit, because I mean, for a long time I was just working
Spirit.
with spirit, and I know that, or dead people. Like I knew they were dead, but I know these people are not dead.
You're like, this energy is different.
Yes.
Yeah, and they can hear me,
Mhm.
and we're on the same consciousness. And so they can hear a lot
Mhm.
about me. And so I just have been trying to be more sovereign over my thoughts and only having happy thoughts. And to be fair, I'm sure that it's annoying for the team that can hear me, but we're all love.
Right.
Doesn't that be tiring?
So-
Tiring?
Yes.
It gets tiring.
Do you wanna answer it, or yeah, I can answer it real
It's
quick,
fine. For
fast.
me, what it sounds like is that, for me, right, how I experience that is because I do so much of my own inner work, like all of us do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We tend to trigger those unhealed parts in other people, so the energy automatically triggers them. So they have a feeling that they don't really, but it's them with them about the they just don't know it. But
It's a wounding.
yeah.
For them or me.
Your light is very bright
For
and
both.
beautiful and it triggers.
Cause
For
you
both.
attract
Same.
each other, it's a reflection, so.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay. In the 3D world, this world here, most people that are still connected to it is that they're remembering who they are and they're bouncing back and forth because they're really still holding on to the masculine side of that place. And when we hit the 5D, we go into the feminine energy, which is the collective. We go into the womb together and we're in the collective consciousness. There is sovereignty, but we're still in a collective state.
Yes.
Even though, so God said, hey, I want to have an experience, and I created Ruby. And everything that Ruby is experiencing, God is too. So in the collective state, when we're in that state, if you are in that state and you're la, da, 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 whatever, and it bothers her, it has nothing to do with you. God wanted to have the experience of that.
Yeah.
God wanted to have the experience of what you're putting forth in the collective. Because now, what has happened is the majority of people here that are incarnated do not have self-karma anymore. We have collective karma that is being played out, and we're all working it now. That's why we have what is happening in the world right now. So in the space that we're in a collective, even the conscious mind or whatever is going crazy. When we're in that 5D state and we're in the 5D,
I mean, I can't get out of it.
no, you're not.
Okay.
You're there. You can't go back to 30.
Yeah.
You're operating.
You're like-
you're-
I'm trying to take in my frequency and it's not helping.
It's not, and
Yeah.
well, actually, you're beyond the 5D.
Yeah.
You're way beyond the 5D.
You can never
But
regret.
5D is the connectedness between it. It's a state where we move the 3-dimensional space into the 5D, and we united it. It's like taking our third layer of consciousness and moving it, of our energy. We're moving it to a certain place so that it'll hold. That's what happened.
It's a bridge.
In order to be in a 3-dimensional space, we had to bring it to the 5D. The 5D couldn't come down to it. So otherwise, what would happen is you would hit if you tried to bring it down, you would bring the 5D into a denseness that it couldn't operate. But bringing the 3D up to that, we had to bring it to a state that's just below light, which is the 5D state. And then once our levels of consciousness is higher than that, we're become the observer and we're watching and we're in the God state and all that. But in the collective consciousness in the 5th dimension, that's where everybody's putting in their 2 cents. Well, I experienced this. What about you? Did you deal with that? Well, I dealt with it, but you didn't. So here's my experience. Why don't you deal with it? I'll let you be up for a while. I'm gonna be over playing
That's right.
Well, I'll wait for you to.
while I wait for you.
Yeah.
That's a simple
That's it.
experience. I know they kind of
It's
went
really
into a
bad,
whole